Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're just going to listen to Neville's lecture on how you can use your imagination, and then I'm going to point out some crucial steps that I think a lot of people are overlooking or they're not really understanding, and because of that, it's leading to you not manifesting or your manifestation taking longer than it should be.
Imagination puts us inwardly in touch with a world of states. These states are existent, they are present now, but they are mere possibilities while we think of them. But they become overpoweringly real when we think from them and dwell in them. You know, there's a wide difference between thinking of what you want in this world and thinking from what you want. If I would make a living representation of the state desired, and then enter that state and abide in that state, I would realize it.
Okay, now before we get to how you can actually use your imagination, let's just talk about this part because I think it's really crucial. He first talked about the importance of the imagination, why we need to imagine. And so he said, by imagining, we are putting ourselves in states, right? So these states are present right now. They exist right now. So it could be a state of financial freedom, a state of health, a state of poverty, whatever state that you may think of is present right now. But we can only be in touch with those states through the imagination. So this is one of the reasons why we need to visualize, because when we visualize, we are putting ourselves in a state that we desire, that is actually present. And that is how we can actually shift our consciousness from a state undesired to a state desired. Remember that everything has to come from within. So for us to move to a new state, you have to start from within. And the way that you can do that using your imagination is to think of yourself in a state desired and live from that state.
You simply know what you want. When you know what you want, you are thinking of it. That is not enough. You must now begin to think from it. Well, how could I think from it? I am sitting here, and I desire to be elsewhere. How could I, while sitting here physically, put myself in imagination at a point in space removed from this room and make that real to me? Quite easily. My imagination puts me in touch inwardly with that state. I imagine that I am actually where I desire to be. Now, can I tell that I am there? There is only one way to prove that I am there. For what a man sees when he describes his world is as he describes it relative to himself. So what the world looks like depends entirely upon where I stand when I make my observation. So if, as I describe my world, it is related to that point in space I imagine that I am occupying, then I must be there. I am not there physically, no, but I am there in my imagination. And my imagination is my real self. And where I go in imagination and make it real, there I shall go in the flesh also. When in that state I fall asleep, it is done. I have never seen it fail. So this is the simple technique on how to use your imagination to realize your every objective.
Okay, now on this part, I think Neville said something really important that even I used to overlook. He said, what you see when you describe your world depends upon where you stand. Now, when I actually listened to this the first time, I just looked at it as when you're imagining, just see what you would see were you in the desired state. But I just realized something, that this is all about consciousness. So we can say how you feel when you describe your world depends upon where you stand. The real reality is internal. So how you feel internally reflects where you stand. So you can imagine yourself in the desired state. So let's say you want to attract financial freedom, and you visualize yourself in the state where you have the money that you want. But during the day, you feel stressed, you worry too much, you are wondering, how am I going to survive? Those inward feelings, they reflect where you stand consciously. So when you find yourself frustrated, stressed, and you're in this journey of trying to manifest something, that should tell you where you stand. It shows that you are in a state of lack. What you see is lack, and that's why you're worried. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you're stressed. Otherwise, if you were in a state where you have the financial freedom, you wouldn't be stressed. You wouldn't worry about anything. So I think that is something that we should be aware of when you're trying to manifest something. So in other words, how you feel internally is a reflection of where you stand in terms of your consciousness. That's it. If you're coming from a place of lack, you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to be worried. You're going to have fear of what's going to happen tomorrow, how you're going to survive. But if you have the financial freedom and you're convinced that I am in the state desired, then you are not going to be stressed or worried. When you visualize yourself and you get in touch with the state desired and you think from it as if it's already done, it shows you where you stand in your world. Now, if you repeat this every single day, you feel yourself in the state desired and get to a point where internally you're not stressed, you're not frustrated, you have the feelings that reflect that you are in the state desired. You will bring that state to reality. So I think this is a really important takeaway that you should take note of when you're trying to use the law of assumption to manifest. To take a look at your feelings. How do you feel most of the time? Because your feelings reflect what is in your mind. Your feelings reflect your state of consciousness. So if you find yourself feeling frustrated more, stressed more, worried more than you would if you were in the state desired, then it shows where you stand consciously. And it is telling you, it's actually a sign that you need to shift your state of consciousness. And that may be the reason why you're failing to manifest. Thank you for watching.